Is 4 gigabytes of RAM enough in today's computing world? Finally, the truth. A special edition of the Linux A Team. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another Linux A Team. As you can see, I'm live from the Windows 10 shack behind me. Actually, no, this is just the background in Google Meet. I don't have a green screen. It doesn't quite work out, but it's good enough. So I have my returning champions from around the world. I have Dan here from Michigan, Jesper from Denmark, and Ron from Canada. Welcome all
My
to
home and native land.
Thank you so much.
There you go. So welcome to this special edition of the Linux A Team. I know it's been a while. Tonight's topic, as we record this, is 4 gigabytes of RAM enough in today's world? And we'll try to compare Windows 10 and some forms of Linux. All right, since I'm actually doing this in Windows 10, little secret there, let's start off with Windows 10 and 4 gigs of RAM. Is Windows 10 enough, and is 4 gigs of RAM enough in Windows 10? Yes, it is enough to turn the computer on and off. Next topic. No, but
I was going to say it's enough to do one update.
Okay.
I would say it could work if there was an SSD hard disk in it also. So.
All right.
But
let me give you my brief thoughts, and then we'll go around the crew here. I just installed the Windows 10 computer for a friend of mine. I had to buy it for him, install, do all the things. Okay, here's the thing. All you wanted to do was to check emails and the news, okay?
Yeah.
Even with that, with 4 gigs of RAM, it ran slow. Out of the box by default, it ran slow. If you don't know how to tweak it, you know how to tune it up, how to de-bloat Windows 10. With 4 gigs of RAM, it is going to be slow and annoying. From my experience, tweaking that computer for him, and out of the box, I couldn't stand it. Compared to my Ubuntu Mate, it ran slow. But I de-bloated it, tweaked it. I deleted some startup applications. Anyway, did a defrag, and it's all good. If you know what you're doing, 4 gigs of RAM for Windows 10 can be enough. I strongly recommend, though, that you buy a computer with at least 8 gigs of RAM for Windows 10. At least, even for email and other things. It's just the way Windows 10 is. It is by default simply bloated. Now, Jesper, you were saying, and Ron, if you're not going to do a lot, like gaming or OBS Studio, like what we're doing here, sure. Now, do you guys still use Windows?
Yes, I do.
I don't use it very much at all. At best, a virtual machine.
Yeah, about once or twice a year, I boot it up to just run Rufus, just to create bootable USB
okay.
Windows Media. Otherwise, I maybe use it 2 or 3 times a year, but in a VM. I actually use Windows XP in a VM more often.
And how much RAM do you have?
That machine has 16 gigs. It's just a little ThinkPad, but the VMs they have for like 2 gigs.
Okay.
For XP Windows 7, I've got 4 gigs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's serviceable.
Yeah, this one here has what I have is 16 gigs, and it's fine with the 16 gigs. But of course, I'm doing more streaming and recording and editing and all that. So as far as Windows 10 goes, folks, if you're going to buy a Windows 10 machine, is 4 gigs of RAM enough? If you know what you're doing, yes, meaning de-bloating and tweaking and this and that. If you don't know what you're doing, don't buy it. Just buy one with 8 gig, and it should be fine. There's a lot involved in tweaking, de-bloating, startup services, going to the registry, which you don't want to do unless you know what you're doing. It's a lot. It takes hours to take a brand new Windows 10 machine, go in, do the updates, wash, rinse, and repeat, wait for it to reboot, install. It drives me freaking nuts,
Be careful not to install too many programs
Right.
that are running in the background. Yeah.
Only install what you need, delete what you don't need. Like if it comes pre-installed with Skype, we were talking about Skype. If you don't need it, delete it. Or a game, delete it. And that's what I did for this gentleman, and I got it running to where it's smoother. It's not as fast as Ubuntu Mate or Linux Mint or whatever, but it's serviceable. But I knew what I was doing. He didn't have a clue. So he's looking at me. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. I said, don't worry about it. Let me do what you got to do. Really, the most extensive time was doing the updates and rebooting and doing the updates and rebooting. And I don't know how many reboots they're going to be. There's no like timestamp or time lapse on it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Is it one reboot or half a dozen? That's why I don't particularly care for Windows 10. Windows 7 was much, much simplified, in my opinion. Gentlemen, any final thoughts on 4 gigs of RAM in Windows 10?
I use 6 in my virtual machine, and it seems to work very well that way.
6, wow, okay.
Yeah, 6 is what I used to.
Okay.
I did find something very interesting when I would do a bare metal Windows 10 Pro install, accepting all of Windows suggested options, just accepting everything, saying yeah. The memory hit is about 2.4-ish gig, just doing nothing, just sitting
It's
there.
high. No, it's high.
And when I say 9, no to everything, and do not run any background tasks. Not allow any programs to run in the background. I'm down to like 1.6, 1.7.
Okay.
So it gives you a pretty good idea if you have 4 gigs of RAM only. Turn that background stuff off and learn to say no.
Yeah. Just say no. Just say no
Just
to
say no.
drugs and just say no to Windows 10 if you can. Right.
You would tear up the SSD hard disk too fast, I think, because the file will be big.
Mm-hmm.
So it
adds
has to
up.
work a lot, but it makes it faster with the SSD, with 4 gigs.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's compare that to, is 4 gigs enough for Linux-based systems? Yes, for anything except the GNOME desktop, it's fine.
You know,
Period.
I'm on
Anything except GNOME, not a problem.
Mint 20.1 Mate right now.
Okay.
Thanks to Carmine again. And I've got 12 tabs open. They've all been refreshed. Firefox.
Okay, 12.
And my hit is only 2.2 gigs right
wow.
now. So says HTOP. So that gives you an idea. What a massive
go.
difference. Oh, and I have Word open. Or Word, jeez. LibreOffice Writer.
LibreOffice, similar to Word. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. No, I'm not trying to be funny, but anything except the GNOME desktop, 4 gigs is enough. I've tried to run the GNOME desktop with 4 gigs. It'll run, but you can tell it's not.
I got
It's not like
8.2 gigs out running right now.
on.
That includes running 3 browsers with 12 tabs open in almost all of them.
What are you running? Which system now?
Wow.
That's a lot.
8 gigs.
I have a lot of stuff opened and running though.
You must have.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I have 3 browsers running. I got Vivaldi, and that's got like 4 tabs open.
Okay.
I know on Firefox, I got 8 tabs open. But that's my own movie only browser.
Okay.
LibreWolf, I know I got 12 opened on that one because I'm constantly digging around looking for YouTube stuff on that browser. I got
Wow.
Lutris open. It's got a ton of games on it. I got Steam running.
Okay, you got the gaming. Okay, I was gonna say
You're not a
gigs.
distro hopper, you
and
are
you're
a
running
browser
Linux
hopper.
Mint. Linux
Damn.
Mint, right?
I'm running Linux the Debian edition.
Okay. I'm at
LMD.
LMDE4.
Got it. I'm at 5.3 gigs usage now, but I'm running OBS, so that's about in Windows 10. So that's about
Let me
right.
see.
I don't think
if I
Windows
have it
would,
installed, I can remember.
I don't think Windows would do all of this all at the same time anyways, regardless how much RAM you have
It's
in
very
it.
tiny. You can install it within
Yeah, I know.
seconds.
I know it.
Well, like I said, this machine it's 16 gigs and it's plenty. Even with all I do, it's it's enough. So I guess getting back to our point, 4 gigs of RAM in today's world, is it enough? I guess the best answer we can give you is maybe. For most Linux-based systems, except for the GNOME desktop, it should be enough. For Windows 10, if you know what you're doing. Now, one last thing I want to mention: Chromebooks. Is 4 gigs enough for Chromebooks? Absolutely.
I wouldn't know
Yeah.
about that.
I have a Chromebook with 2 gigs of RAM, and it's fine. It's fine. It's not quite as
It's
smooth
all
as I
about
want it,
the
but
tabs
it's only
that
2
you've got.
gigs. So Chromebooks,
My
yes.
car radio's got more than that.
Yeah, but it is also more server-sided, isn't it?
Well,
running off
Chromebook
the
is
internet.
web-based.
My
Yeah,
radio,
yeah.
my truck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why you can do it. Yes, right.
Yeah.
It actually runs on Linux too. It's
Yeah.
got you hit the
Yeah.
info button, it gives you the kernel number.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yes. So in conclusion, you can run systems today, especially with
But-
lightweight Linux systems with 4 gigs of RAM. There's nothing wrong with having more. It won't hurt it. Especially if you're running games. If you're running games, you really need more. You should have more. Because you
Yeah,
won't be
these
happy.
days I think out of all the computer
You won't be
upgrades, the
happy.
RAM would probably be the cheapest.
Yeah, you won't be happy.
All the other parts
Yeah.
have gone up. The power supplies are sky high. The CPUs are sky high.
Yeah.
The motherboards aren't exactly
Yeah.
cheap anymore.
I
So
mean,
I would,
yeah. I mean,
RAM
with
is
Ubuntu, I
not
zip.
that
With the
bad.
Chromebook,
My
I
company
zip. You know,
buys
so
my company buys a lot of memory modules, DDR4, and even the legacy stuff like DDR3s.
okay.
Mhm.
We've seen about a 60% price increase simply
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of availability
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
lack thereof.
on RAM.
And
Yeah.
on RAM, it's just
Yeah, it's
ridiculous right
this
now.
Wow,
year
I didn't
now,
realize
Yeah.
that it
Ugh.
finally took a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My old
so-
computer is running with the DDR2.
I am in
Oh,
error.
8
RAM's
gigs.
not cheap.
Yeah,
DDR2.
yeah, it's running fine with Windows
Wow.
10.
I have an ThinkPad X61. It's a 12.1 inch old. I think it was first generation CPU. Anyhow, or pre first generation. It's old. You have to force PAE, and that's DDR2 RAM. And I've got Mint 18.3 on it, XFCE,
Yeah.
and it runs quite nicely. I
Okay.
use
All right. Well,
that as my computer when I cross the border into the States, figuring that if I have to ditch it, I don't care.
Have to ditch it.
ditch it.
They're on to me. I gotta ditch it.
Terminate
Top
it.
secret. Top secret stuff on this thing.
Here's a simple solution to all mom and pop consumers. Buy a Chromebook. Buy a refurbished Chromebook. It still has a warranty. If it has 4 gigs, trust me, it'll fly. Fly to the sky. And there's your answer. In today's world where prices seem to be too high, a Chromebook
What do you
is still
do with your
affordable.
Chromebook?
I stream music on it and watch YouTube videos. It's in my garage, which is over here, not the shack behind me, but it's over here. And I stream music, videos, and with 2 gigs, it's fine. It really is. But that's all I'm going to do. I can't do anything more with 2
I would
gigs.
like to buy one, but I can't justify its usage. I'm like already over computered as it is.
If you
I
buy
had
a
the
new
same
one,
problem.
it's 6.5 years guaranteed support, which isn't bad. And guess what? You will never, ever, so far I've seen, you will never, ever have to worry about a bug, ransomware, stuff like that. It ain't going to happen with the Chromebook, at least none that
That
I've
takes
seen.
the challenge out of it, though.
You want a challenge? Go fight a freaking shark. Jeez. Well, that's it for this Linux 18. I hope this helps you out. If people out there are thinking about getting a Chromebook or Windows 10 or something Linux-based, 4 gigs of RAM should be the bare minimum for just about anything. But be aware with Windows 10, if you know what you're doing, how to debloat it, tweak it, go right ahead. If you don't, do not buy a Windows 10 machine with 4 gigs of RAM. I don't think you will be happy in its performance. I just don't think
Agreed.
you will. A Chromebook, not a problem. Even the ones that are low price with $200 or so, if they have 4 gigs of RAM, I think most do nowadays. That thing will fly. It's
I would think
web-based.
with a ThinkPad, if you're thinking about trying Linux out on it,
Yeah.
it should work very
If
good
you're
that
more
way
of a
too.
tinkerer, want to download like a Linux Mint or what I use, Ubuntu Mate, you can check out refurbished ThinkPads on Amazon. The $200 range to $300 range with 8 gigs of RAM should be fine. Download, install it yourself. If you don't know what you're doing, don't worry. You're not going to break it unless you drop your ThinkPad and break it. But in terms of installing Linux, you won't break anything. And you may be satisfied with that. If you're not a tinkerer, you don't have time, you got kids, a wife, and this and that, whatever, you don't have the time, but you want something reliable, low cost, runs fast, just buy a Chromebook. If all you do is web-based or mainly on the web, it's fine. If not,
But if
get
you
it.
do have a wife and kids, you should make the time.
If you make the time, right. Well, good luck with that. Anyway, arrivederci.